Right now, millions of people in America are holding their breath tonight. Green card applicants, H-1B workers, F-1 students, all watching Washington with fear. And tonight, that fear has a name. It's called the 2026 midterm election. Immigration is no longer just policy debate happening inside Washington's marble halls. It has become the defining fault line splitting this entire country wide open. What happens in November will shape immigration for an entire generation ahead. Stay with me. What I'm about to tell you could directly affect your life. We are deep into 2026, and this immigration landscape looks almost unrecognizable now. USCIS backlogs have reached levels this country has genuinely never witnessed before. EB-2 and EB-3 employment-based categories are moving at historically devastating, painful speeds. Some Indian-born EB-2 applicants are now projected to wait over 100 years. That is not hyperbole. That is not politics. That is cold, hard mathematics. And yet Congress has failed year after year to pass any real reform. The last serious attempt died quietly in committee without so much as a vote. That gridlock, that failure, is now the central campaign issue of 2026. Here is why this particular moment feels different from every other election cycle. For years, immigration was what strategists call a classic political wedge issue. Politicians raised it to fire up their base, then quietly let it fade. But something fundamentally shifted this time, and Washington cannot look away anymore. The scale of border events, combined with enforcement actions deep inside the country, combined with economic anxiety from American workers watching wages and communities change rapidly, it created a political pressure cooker that neither party can afford to ignore. And here is the part the immigrant community must clearly understand right now. Both parties are talking about you. Both parties are actively using your story. And neither party has handed you one single real, workable, honest solution. The Republican position heading into 2026 is built entirely on aggressive enforcement, expanded deportations, curtailed legal immigration pathways, proposed cuts to H-1B programs directly. Yes, legal H-1B visas are on the Republican chopping block right now. The argument is simple. American workers must always and unconditionally come first. Members of Congress right now are pushing to slash employment-based green card numbers. They want to restructure the entire preference system from the ground level up. That would push existing backlog applicants even further back, possibly decades further back. On the Democratic side, there are promises of reform, pathways, modernization, and change. But Democrats are caught in a brutal, suffocating, impossible political messaging trap. Their progressive base demands humane, comprehensive, sweeping immigration reform immediately. Their swing state voters are deeply, genuinely concerned about border security and control. Selling both those things in the same sentence is politically nearly impossible today. So what exists now is a Congress that is completely, hopelessly, dangerously paralyzed. An administration acting almost entirely through executive orders and quiet agency rulemaking decisions. And a midterm election shaping up as the most consequential vote in decades. Let me walk you through what has specifically changed on policy ground in 2026. USCIS has expanded biometric requirements for green card renewals and adjustment cases now. Processing times vary wildly between field offices, Texas and Florida waiting nearly 2 years. Applicants in other states complete the same interviews in under 6 months total. That inconsistency is not accidental. It reflects staffing shortages and ongoing congressional funding battles. The agency is, by many credible accounts, stretched well past any sustainable breaking point. The State Department's National Visa Center is facing delays at consular posts worldwide. South Asia and Latin America are hit particularly hard by the appointment crisis. People already approved for immigrant visas are waiting for slots that simply don't exist. Families are being separated, not at the border, but inside the bureaucratic machinery. A system with more demand than capacity is quietly tearing real families apart daily. On the enforcement side, ICE operations have sent shockwaves through communities across America. From Los Angeles to Atlanta to Chicago, communities are living in constant fear. Workplace raids, neighborhood enforcement operations, Long-time residents swept up without warning or mercy. People with American citizen children. People with 0 criminal records. 0 prior violations. Advocates describe a fundamental shift in prosecutorial priorities that is rewriting the enforcement rulebook. And the federal courts are buried in immigration cases right now. Legal challenges to executive actions are moving through a very different-looking federal judiciary. I want to speak directly now to the people actually living through this. If you are on an H-1B visa, your status is stable, but barely. The political environment around H-1B is more contested than it has ever been. Proposals exist to restructure wage requirements, redefine specialty occupation, increase employer scrutiny dramatically. None have passed yet, but the legislative appetite is real and growing every day. If you are an F1 student on OPT or STEM OPT, listen carefully now. Regulatory frameworks from previous administrations are being revisited with serious, renewed political energy. Any change to STEM OPT could eliminate your ability to stay and build here. If you are waiting for a green card, particularly from India or China, I will not sugarcoat this, because you deserve honesty more than you deserve comfort. The backlog crisis will not resolve itself without direct, specific, courageous legislative action. Legislative action requires political will, and political will right now is dangerously, critically short. If you are an asylum seeker, the pressure on this system is enormous. New eligibility restrictions, 1-year filing bar enforcement changes, credible fear interview overhauls, all real. These changes are happening right now, and they are directly affecting real case outcomes. Now let's bring everything back to the election, where this story ultimately ends up. 47 House seats are considered genuinely competitive heading into November 2026 elections. In at least a dozen districts, immigration is polling as the #1 issue. And here is something political analysts are quietly, carefully beginning to notice and track. The immigrant vote is no longer the monolithic Democratic bloc it once was. Latino voters who leaned heavily Democratic for decades have shown significant movement in cycles. Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans, a growing segment of Mexican American voters expressing real frustration. They feel Democrats failed to deliver. They feel Republicans are threatening their families directly. That political homelessness, that tension, is something both parties are desperately trying to exploit. Asian American voters, particularly South Asian and East Asian communities, are newly deeply activated. The backlog crisis is their crisis. They are organized, they are angry, they are voting. The idea of waiting 40 years for a green card, legally following every single rule, while watching your career and your children's future remain frozen in bureaucratic limbo indefinitely. That lived experience is now converting into real political energy, real donations, real votes. And not one candidate in either party has offered a serious, specific plan yet. Not one. Here is what 50 years on this beat has taught me, clearly and absolutely. Immigration policy in America has always moved in cycles: crisis, heat, action, or backlash. What makes 2026 different is the number of simultaneous pressure points colliding at once: the backlog, the border, the courts, the enforcement climate, the diplomatic relationships breaking down. All of it at the same time. All of it feeding into each other relentlessly. Washington will eventually have to act. The question is, what kind of action comes? Genuine reform, humane, pragmatic, thought through, or reactive political patchwork making everything worse? The answer will be written by what the American people decide in November. Here is exactly what you need to be watching in the weeks ahead. Watch Senate Judiciary Committee hearings scheduled later this year on immigration legislation markups. Watch the USCIS fee rule sitting in regulatory limbo. It affects every visa category. Watch federal court rulings in the 5th and 9th Circuits on enforcement and asylum. Those rulings can reshape your reality overnight, without any warning, without any vote. And if you have any case pending, any case at all, get an attorney, not a notary, not a paralegal, a qualified, licensed, experienced immigration attorney. Period. The margin for error in this current environment is exactly 0. Protect yourself now. I have sat at this desk through the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. I covered the death of comprehensive immigration reform on the Senate floor in 2007. I watched the DREAM Act fail. I watched this system strain and crack repeatedly. And after all of it, after every hearing, every bill, every broken promise, I know one thing with complete and absolute certainty after 50 years on this beat. The people caught inside this system are not abstractions. They are not political talking points. They are engineers, nurses, students, parents, small business owners, neighbors, and community leaders. They deserve a system that treats them with the seriousness this country claims to believe in. Whether Washington remembers that truth in 2026, that is the story we are watching. I'm staying on this. Every single development, every vote, every ruling, every policy change, you should stay on it too. We'll see you right back here as this develops.